Measuring angles. So the angle addition postulate. If there are two adjacent angles, then the two angles can be added together and form a larger angle. So it's like things we've done before with in terms of segments. We can add two of the segments together to make up a larger segment. So we did that in measuring segments. So we've seen this before, but now we're just doing it with angles. So example 1, we're going to find the angle KLB if the angle KLM is 84 degrees and then the angle BLM is 61 degrees. So let's go ahead and look at this. So if we're looking at KLM, well, we know K, right? This is KLM, it's the bigger one. Then for BLM, so right, we go from BLM, so here we are, this smaller angle. Now we need to find this angle. So how do we go ahead and do that? Well, by the angle addition postulate, right, we can all set this all up. So we know the angle, the larger angle is equal to the two smaller angles. So we would just go ahead and add these, plus the unknown, which is going to be, we're going from KLB. So what are we solving for? Well, this is what we're solving for, right? And so what do we know? Well, we know this and we know this. So what that means is we can go ahead and substitute this number in for this, and then substitute this number in for this, and then solve for our missing angle. So we have 84 degrees, which is going to be equal to 61 degrees plus our unknown angle. So now all we have, make sure this looks like an angle. Now, how do we go ahead and solve for that? Well, all we do is we're just going to get rid of this number on the right-hand side and then move it to the left-hand side so we have the numbers just on the left-hand side. So let's go ahead and subtract 61 because it's positive, so we need it to become 0 on the right-hand side. So this just becomes 0. 84 minus 61, well, 4 minus 1 is 3. 8 minus 6 is 2. So what's our missing angle? Well, it's actually just 23 degrees. So this would be our solution. So we solved for the smaller one. So we just took the larger one that we knew for that angle, and we went ahead and just subtracted this smaller one inside to then find this missing one right here. Example 2, find the measure of the obtuse angle. Well, what do we know about obtuse, right? Obtuse angle is the bigger angle. So we're kind of given two angles to look at here, right? We have one here and one here. So we can see this is our acute and this is our obtuse angle. But what do we know about this? Well, this is a line. So that means this whole thing on the bottom, right, this acute angle and the smaller angle actually has to be equal to 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and set this up. So we know this acute angle plus the obtuse angle has to be equal to 180 degrees. Well, what do we know about the acute angle? Well, the acute angle is going to be the 4y minus 39, and the obtuse is going to be 3y plus 51. Let's just make sure I did that right. Yep, that's okay. So now let's go ahead and start to solve for this. So we know we can go ahead and just substitute this into here and then this number into here. So let's go ahead and do that. So we know 4y minus 39 plus this 3y plus 51, which is equal to the 180 degrees, right? Because it's a straight line, and so we know a straight line is equal to 180 degrees on one side. So now let's go ahead and solve. And so like previous ones, what we're going to do is kind of simplify. So we see we have a y and another y. So we're going to add those together. Then we're going to go ahead and add the numbers together just on the left-hand side. And then we'll deal with things after that. So 4y plus, right, so this is a plus sign, it's plus 3y, so that's just equal to 7y. Now we have 51 minus 39. Well, 51 minus 39 is equal to 12, so we just can go plus 12. And now this is equal to 180. So what do we need to do now? Well, we just need to go ahead and just subtract this 12 from both sides. Why do we do that? Right? We want to get rid of the 12 on the left-hand side because we want y by itself. So we need to first deal with the numbers, the addition or subtraction. So we can go ahead and do that. So we got rid of the 12 on the left-hand side. So now we just have 7y. And now we have 180 minus 12. So another quick way to think about it is if you want to do it in your head and not really have to do all this, you can kind of think of it as 180 minus this 10, which would be 170. And then you can go ahead and think about just subtracting 2 from that. So that would be 168. And if you aren't sure, go ahead and just go like this. You need to borrow, so you have a 10 minus 2, so that's an 8. 7 minus 1, which is 6. And then you just bring down the 100 there. So it's just kind of a different way to kind of approach math, and like that's what people do in their heads is see how the numbers are flexible and make it kind of simpler in their head to solve. So now we have 7y is equal to 168. So we just need to go ahead and subtract 7 on both sides, right? Because this just becomes 1, because 7 divided by 7 is just 1. So now you have y is equal to 168 divided by 7. So let's go ahead and do that. So 7 can go not into 1, but it can go into 16 2 times, because 7 times 2 is 14. Go ahead and subtract, we get 2. Let's go ahead and bring down the 8. Now 7 can go into 28 4 times. So now we get 0. So what does y equal? Well, it's equal to 24. But let's go back. Is that actually our question? No, we're trying to find the measure of the obtuse angle. So if we know what y is, that should actually help us to solve for this, right? That's why we did this whole problem thus far. So 3y plus 51. So this is our obtuse angle. So let's go ahead and solve for that. So 3 times 24 plus 51. Well, we need to do the multiplication first. So 3 times 24. Well, that would be equal to 72. And so another way to kind of look at that is go 3 times 25 in your head, right? Because if you had 3/4, that would equal 75 cents. So you have 75, but you need to go ahead and subtract 3 ones, or like 3, because you have 24, not 25. So 75 minus 3 is 72, right? So that would equal 72, because we multiplied this together. Then we need to go ahead and add 51. Well, how do we do that, right? So 72 plus 51. Well, we add the 1s together, so 2 plus 1. That would be this 3, and 7 plus 5 is 12. So this would be our answer to this problem.